Hi everyone, it's Paik here. Today I bring you our Winsmith video, where I'll be showing several hybrid builds that basically combine two weapons that usually belong to different official sets. In this game we have several weapons, I believe there will be around 12 at launch, and the game pairs them up in twos that usually have great synergy between each other. For example, we have the tank build that uses the tank Stormbreaker Spear together with the defensive Heavenquaker blade, which is a glaive. Both are very defensive weapons that fit together really well, making a proper tank build. We also have the healing build that uses the healing Pnacea fan and the healing Soulshade umbrella, both focused on support and recovery. But can we mix weapons from different sets? Of course we can. For instance, we could mix the Pnacea fan with a tank weapon like the Heavenquaker blade. You can basically mix any two weapons you want. The thing is, the official pairs the game suggests are already designed to be played together, so you know for sure they will work well. While the random pairings you can make might end up being good, bad, terrible, it depends on the combination. So in this video I'll be showing several mixed weapon combinations so you can understand how hybrid builds work, what kind of pairings can be strong, and how you can start creating your own custom sets. Also, for all the official weapons pairs suggested by the game, I already have full guides on my channel. Those go into detail for each weapon individually and then explain how to play them together. I recommend checking them out because in this video I won't be covering every single move or mechanic of each weapon, I'll just give you the global idea of which combinations to make and why they work. Before we start, by the way, I want to mention that I've opened a Discord server for the Paik channel, which for now will be dedicated to our Winsmith. I thought it'd be a good idea to have a place for people interested in the online content to meet up, collaborate, form guilds, and so on. Since I still don't know exactly how the game's online features will work, the server is pretty simple at the moment, but I'll expand it as needed. You can find the invite link in the video description and in the pinned comment. Feel free to drop by, say hi, and little by little we will build a nice community where it's easy to connect and have fun. Alright, let's get started with the hybrid combinations. The first combination I want to show you is about mixing a DPS weapon with a healing one. This is a very smart and extremely strong setup for story mode. The game suggests mixing two healing weapons for a pure support build, which is great for group content, but if you're playing solo you'll deal so little damage that it will take forever to kill enemies. On the other hand, if you go with two DPS weapons, you'll run out of healing very quickly since the game limits the number of potions you can use. So here we can take the best of both worlds, one DPS weapon to deal good damage and one healing weapon to heal yourself when low on health, removing the healing limit completely. For story mode, these combinations are insanely strong. Enemies can hit me all they want, they just won't be able to bring me down while I keep doing solid damage thanks to my DPS weapon. The only drawback is that when facing bosses for the first time, the healing effects from healing weapons are heavily nerfed, so you'll heal very little. Against bosses the first encounter might feel rough, but outside of that, this setup is absolutely broken. Now regarding the healing weapons, we have two options, the healing Pnacea fan and the healing Soulshade umbrella. Personally, for story mode, I much prefer the Soulshade umbrella. You just throw it into the sky, switch to your DPS weapon, start attacking, and the umbrella stays in the air constantly healing you, enough to survive everything. With the Pnacea fan, on the other hand, you have to switch to it each time if you want to heal. So if you're attacking with your DPS weapon and take damage, you need to swap, use the healing skills for a bit, then go back to DPS. It's much less practical and riskier, since you're not healing constantly, you have to manage it. Generally speaking, the Pnacea fan is considered the better weapon in terms of meta, because its heals are stronger and cover a wide area, but for story mode we don't really need that. The umbrella's healing is more than enough, faster, safer and more flexible. That said, you will need to start with the Pnacea fan anyway if you want healing weapon early on, because it's available in the first region, while the Soulshade umbrella can only be unlocked later in the second region, Kaifeng, so start with the fan and switch to the umbrella once you get it. As for the DPS weapon, pretty much any option works. However, weapons that tend to take damage benefit the most from pairing them with healing weapons. For example, the Nameless sword lets you fight from a safe distance, so you rarely get hit. But take spears for instance. They have long attack animations, many of which are uninterruptible. You'll be attacking non-stop, but enemies will often hit you during those animations. In that case, having the umbrella constantly healing you is perfect, or you can swap to the fan for manual healing. So for spear mains out there, I know many of you love them. Pairing a spear with a healing weapon is great to keep your HP topped off while attacking non-stop. Among the spears, I wouldn't recommend the tank Stormbreaker spear, but between the Nameless spear and the Heavenquaker spear, I say the latter is my favorite. It's the one usually paired with a strategic sword, the Blitz setup, very strong area of effect damage and overall great choice. Another interesting combination is with the Infernal Twinblades as your main DPS weapon. The Twinblades are very agile, you're constantly attacking and dodging, and once you fill your blood gauge and activate it, you will become uninterruptible. That means you can go all out attacking while healing passively with your healing weapon. Twinblades actually do heal a bit during the blood mode, but it's so little it's very noticeable, so pairing them with a healing weapon makes a huge difference. You will be able to stay in your blood mode attacking non-stop, tanking everything while dealing massive damage. Another good setup along the lines is with the Heavencry blade, the Glaive. It's normally a tank weapon paired with the Stormbreaker spear, but between the two, the Heavencry blade is the one that truly deals damage. You can set up some shields, charge up powerful attacks, and while charging you can't dodge, so you will take hits. That's where the healing umbrella or the fan comes in, just heal passively with the umbrella or use your fan to heal with active skills. Another fun combination involves using weapons that support your DPS damage, like for example the DPS Ninefold umbrella or the Mortal Ropedart. These two weapons are special because they provide buffs that increase your damage, so then you can swap to your main weapon to take advantage of those buffs. With the Ninefold umbrella, you throw it into the air and it keeps attacking enemies at range on its own. The Mortal Ropedart, on the other hand, summons little rats that attack enemies for you while you switch to another weapon. The difference is that the umbrella is more suited for range play, while the Ropedart rats only hit if you stay close to enemies. A weapon combination I like a lot is pairing the Ninefold umbrella with the Nameless sword. Even though the Nameless sword is technically a melee weapon, it has several long-range attacks. You can stay away from enemies, keep spacing them, while your umbrella will keep attacking besides you. You can move in for close attacks, the umbrella will keep attacking, or you can move back, use your range skills, and the umbrella will still attack. It's always there hitting the enemies. To be able to use this floating umbrella stance, you need those pink petals, so once you run out of them, you can use the umbrella's range attacks to keep recovering them. Once your pink petals are full, just throw the umbrella to the air again, swap to your Nameless sword and keep attacking. It's a really cool combo that lets you stay on long range or short range, whatever you want. In the case of the Mortal Ropedart, it's usually paired with the Twinblades, since its buffs benefit weapons that hit repeatedly with basic attacks. The only weapon that fits that perfectly are the Twinblades, which is why they pair so well. You can also main the Ropedart itself as main weapon, by the way, and summon the rats and just keep using basic attacks and use a secondary weapon to heal yourself or whatever, like for example the healing umbrella. That said, you can combine the Mortal Ropedart with any other melee DPS weapon as long as you stay close enough to the enemies for the rats to keep hitting. One combo I really like is the Ropedart with a strategic sword. Mixing it with a spear, for example, even if it would be fine, it wouldn't be ideal, because spears have long animations, you will often take hits, and unless you mix it with a healing or mobility weapon, you might struggle a bit. But the strategic sword has good mobility while staying close range and does great damage, so the rats will constantly be hitting, and thanks to that mobility you will take less damage overall. So the combo works great, just summon the rats with a Ropedart, switch to the strategic sword and perform the combos I show in my strategic sword guide. As you can see, most of these combinations balance out each other's weakness. For example, spears hit hard, but leave you exposed, so complement that with a healing weapon and you're great. But sometimes you can mix weapons that double down on the same concept, and that's where one of my favorite and most fun combos comes in. Mixing the strategic sword with a Nameless sword. These two are very similar, both focus on spacing, keeping distance and then diving in, hitting hard and retreating again. Mixing them lets you play this in and out style of combat with much more flexibility and power. Basically, with a Nameless sword, you stay away from enemies attacking from mid to long range, and when it's time to go in, you dash in using your light skill, switch to the strategic sword, unleash your bleed attacks, retreat with the heavy skill, and then go back in with your charge attack. Then swap to the Nameless sword, use your light skill, then retreat with the heavy skill, make some range attacks, and then go in again with the strategic sword and keep rotating in this way. It becomes a fluid dance of entering and leaving combat constantly, very powerful and super fun to play. A combo that many of you have asked me to talk about is the Strategic Sword plus Nameless Spear setup, which was apparently very popular in Chinese PvP and even won a major tournament there, so yeah, it's a very strong PvP combo. It makes sense because the Nameless Spear is amazing at destroying single targets, perfect for 1v1 duels. You can paralyze your opponent, then hit with a charge attack for massive damage, then switch to the Strategic Sword to bleed them up close, and you can also control space easily, either moving in aggressively or backing off safely. If you rotate properly between them, your opponent won't know what to do. In this case, you want to start with the Spear's heavy skill that will power up your charge attacks, then use the Paralysis skill and follow up with a Charge Strike for huge burst damage. Then switch to the Strategic Sword, use its light skill to apply multiple bleeds, then the heavy skill to detonate those bleeds and deal massive damage while retreating, and then charge in again, apply more bleeds, switch back to the spear and repeat the combo. The only weakness of this combo in story mode is that even though the Nameless Spear is great at killing single enemies, it's not that good against bosses, since they can't really be paralyzed. And during your charge attack you'll just be hitting hits. Still, for PvP it apparently won a tournament, so that's why I'm including it here. It can be brutal in that context. And finally, the last combo I'm showing you, I do it because it's just incredibly cool and stylish. Basically, it's using the Twinblades together with a one-handed sword. That way you will have 3 swords on your back. Visually it looks awesome, similar to Zoro from One Piece. In this case I'd recommend pairing the dual blades with a Nameless sword. You can use the Nameless sword to attack from range safely, and when you see an enemy isolated, you can jump on it with your dual blades, enter blood mode and go all in until they're dead. Then swap back to the Nameless sword, keep spacing enemies, and once you sense blood again when it's time to strike, switch back to the dual blades and dive in once more. It's actually a great playstyle for keeping distance and closing in when the timing's right. I have dedicated guides for every weapons and their intended official pairings, so make sure to check those out if you want to learn about all the standard builds. They're also really strong and fun in their own ways. But I hope that with this video you've also learned how mixing weapons from different sets work, what strength each one brings, and how to start making your own hybrid builds. If you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate if you could leave a like. I'll see you in future videos, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.